we're on the other side of the tree here, and what I'm looking at is a branch that starts down at the base of the trunk and extends pretty far out here. And at the very end, we've got some weight that I want to consider reducing. So I just wanted to demonstrate a little bit of using the pole saw so that we can take some of the weight off of the tip. And what I'm doing is I'm going to eliminate this branch that's coming up and over and the weight of that branch, and I'm going to reduce it back down to this smaller diameter branch, again for the concept of taper, so that this smaller branch can become the dominant branch of this main one. And the diameter is going to go from smaller to larger in a shorter distance by eliminating this one. So I've got my pole saw here, and it's the same concept. You want to do a three-part cut. You want to do your undercut, you want to do your overcut, and then you want to do your final cut. And ultimately what that does is it makes a clean final cut that the tree can seal and compartmentalize so that you don't get decay or rot into the main trunk that you want to leave, right? So I want to eliminate this branch right here. So ultimately I'm going to take it here, but I'm going to start my cut further out, and I'm going to go with that undercut, right? And then I'm going to go with the overcut. As I was doing that, I wanted to kind of show you, you see how much this branch sways? That's the idea of creating taper, is to reduce that amount of sway. We've got this similar diameter branch that comes out from the main trunk, main stem, and we want to reduce it back so it doesn't get as much sway, especially when wind blows through here. So I've made my undercut here, right? I'm going to make my overcut. This is my second cut. So you've got your undercut first, your overcut second, and both of these happen away from the branch collar so that you take the weight of the branch off, right? And you can see that there's no peel going down this section of the branch that I've left. And immediately what's happened is we've drastically reduced the sway of this branch. And we've created taper that goes from larger diameter to shorter diameter, or to narrower diameter, in a shorter distance. So I'm going to make that final cut. I'm going to reach on my tippy toes with my trusty handsaw. And I can make a clean cut through here because there's not as much weight from that branch holding down. So I can make a cut from the top without worrying too much about any peel, because there's not really much weight to this branch anymore. So I'm just going to make a straight cut down, and again I want to be just above this branch collar so that the tree can seal this off, and this will become the dominant branch. And there you go. So now we still have a little bit of weight to this branch from these other branches, and I'm not sure you can see it too well, but this branch here has a pretty funky attachment to the main branch. So this is kind of like 102 for you guys. So we've gone through creating taper, looking at the main architecture of trees. This is part of looking at how tree structure can be managed. So it's pretty, you can demonstrate it with your hand. So if I have my main stem as my palm here, and I've got a branch coming off the side represented by my thumb, that 90-degree attachment is an ideal attachment of a branch to the main stem. When you start getting a narrower angle of attachment, what happens is the wood fibers end up growing more parallel with one another. So that's that narrow angle of attachment. When you have that angle of attachment, the wood fibers end up growing more locked together, and you get these spirally grain patterns that really help to solidify the connection of the branch to the main stem. So if I show you here, you can kind of see how there's a line. If you zoom in a little there's a line right here, and that's the branch, the bark from the smaller branch meeting the bark from the larger stem, and it's just growing against itself. So not only do you have the bark growing against itself, but you also have the wood grains growing like this. And that's, when you have major wind events, that's where weaknesses occur, and that's where you get failures. So looking at this overextending branch, I'm gonna go ahead and take this one off, just to give this guy a little more room to grow and a little more strength, because it is starting to get a little bit long and overextending. So I'm gonna take some weight off, and I don't really like that attachment point. So let's go ahead and take that. I'll hold it for you, Michael, so that you don't get hit. But just be aware, typically if we're doing any bigger pruning, you really want to be cognizant of safety, and we'll wear helmets and eye protection, just so that we don't damage the important things. So I'm going to go ahead and take this branch. I'm still going to follow that 3-cut rule. Let me make a little window here for you so you get a nice view. So this branch is growing straight up. I know that it's going to fall this way, so I'm just going to hold it here and make my cuts, and I'll direct the fall so that it's out of your way. So if you want to get a little fancy, this is kind of 103 now. If you've got an angle of your branch lean, you can direct exactly where the branch is going to fall by making a little notch. So this is probably a little bit more applicable to larger trees. So if you look at videos of guys and gals dropping trees, they'll put a notch in it to almost ensure the direction that it's going to fall. This is just a little safety and just to demonstrate sort of how it works. So we've got our notch here. So I've got my notch cut out. Typically your notch goes about 1/3 of the diameter into the trunk or into the branch, and then you cut from the back side as the cut that causes the branch to go. And there's your fallen tree. So we've got this here, and now I'm going to look and see where it attaches to the main trunk. And I just want to make sure that I'm not cutting into the main stem. Again, the whole point of trees compartmentalizing is so that oxygen can't get into the main stem, which allows for growth of pests and disease and fungus and things like that. So I just want to make sure I don't cut into the main stem. So I've looked at both sides here, I've looked at this side, and I know about where the branch is. So I've got it here. And that's it. And now, if we look at the branch, we've got a lot less weight at the tip. We've got an opportunity for these two guys to grow up. I'm gonna take this. So of these two branches, I like this attachment much better than this attachment. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this one. Got my undercut. my overcut. And then I've got my final cut. So now, we're looking at a branch that has the dominant leader and what we would consider a scaffolding branch. A branch along the main stem of this main trunk. And there's not too much canopy out here that's going to catch wind and really make this move. And because we've eliminated so much weight from it, this is much sturdier than how it was before. So thanks for watching, appreciate it. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact the garden. I'm with True Tree Service. You're more than welcome to reach out to us. We're at truetreeservice.com. We're local arborists here in South Florida, and we really care about the canopy, and it's really an honor to be able to work in such a beautiful place as the Miami Beach Botanical Garden.